Let's start. Hi everyone, it's me, and today, are you hungry for some Thai food? Together!
If you ask me, there's only one thing better than Thai food, and that's the names of the Thai restaurants that serve the food. I mean, come on! Tongue-tied, appetizing, Thai hard with a vengeance? I didn't even make that one up, that one's just plain fun. Tie the knot, coat and tie, tie me up? Is that a food restaurant? Anyway, these restaurants are speaking my dad language. I want to eat at all of these
Ghosts are real, but they are eatery.
places. Like this one, Thai pods. Oh, no, I don't want to eat that. Don't want to risk demonetization.
Oh my gosh, the dad pun, come on, net bad, dad hat.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Food Theory.
Hello internet, welcome to Food Theory. Hi.
The show that's more
Hi.
enticing than a mango sticky rice dessert drenched in coconut cream syrup. Friends, one of the
Delicious.
reasons I started a channel to talk about food is that it's universally relatable. Not everyone watches the same movies, not everyone plays or even owns the means to play the same video games, but everyone has got to eat. But what makes food even more exciting is that it's a unique outlet for cultural expression. It's rarely the case that
I just love the Gajin Guba reference of the game exchange.
many countries, regions, or heck, even individual families approach food the same way. Food is just a huge carrier for culture. For instance, if you live in the great melting pot that's the United States, the foods that are popular here largely reflect both the local culture and cultural heritage of the people that live there.
Oh, and case in point, I just remember there's a joke about melting pot in USA. In Singapore, we call it rojak.
New York-style
Delicious.
pizza and Chicago-style pizza are things because both cities have huge Italian-American populations. And you have a number of major US cities like New York, San Francisco, and Seattle that have Chinatown districts, where Chinese cuisine obviously is going to feature heavily. And then there's the fact that Mexican-Americans make up nearly 1/4 of the US's population. So it's really no surprise that Chinese, Mexican, and Italian are the three most popular ethnic cuisines in the United States. But then we get down to the fourth entry on the list and we discover ourselves a bit of an outlier. Thai food. Now, while the US has certainly welcomed its fair share of Thai immigrants over the years, Thai cuisine really seems to be punching way above its weight class in terms of popularity. Because while Thai restaurants might be catching on big in the US, there isn't really a big Thai population to match it.
But case in point, you must recognize that the Thai delicacy is just wonderful to eat. Super yummy and delicious.
2018, it was estimated that
Tasty.
there were around 5,300 Thai restaurants in the US.
2018 is 4 years ago. Note that right now it's in the year 2022.
When US Census data reported only 300,000 Thai people in the US. That's a ratio of 57 Thai American people for every Thai restaurant. For comparison, look at the ratio of Mexican American people, 36.6 million, to Mexican restaurants in the same year, 54,000. That gives us a ratio of 678 Mexican Americans for every Mexican restaurant. Things get even weirder though when you look at where in America Thai restaurants are really taken off. For example, the city of Fairbanks, Alaska has a population of only 32,000, but with a whopping 24 Thai restaurants. The city seems to be absolutely obsessed with Thai food, so you might expect it to be a Thai immigration hub, but if you look at the census data, that's not the case. In fact, the Thai population in Fairbanks is so small that ethnic groups that make up only 0.35% of the population are listed ahead of it in the census data. I bring up these examples because they point to something that bucks historic trends. America's multi-ethnic food culture has, in pretty much every case, been the result of different ethnic groups from around the world coming to America and bringing their food with them. But here we have an exceptional case of Thai food showing up even when Thai people aren't. So I gotta ask, what's really going on here? And the
Why?
answer is gastrodiplomacy. Nope.
Gastrodiplomacy.
That's not the name of new Pokemon. It's managing international relations by way of food. That's right, the
Who's that Pokemon?
prevalence of Thai restaurants in the US is the result of a deliberate effort by Thailand's government to win the hearts and minds of the American people. And here's the thing, theorists, it's working. As a matter of fact, it is working big time. So I get it, all this foreign government gastrodiplomacy stuff kinda sounds like it would be a half-baked parody of a conspiracy theory, but it's 100% true. According to Medium.com, quote, the Thai government has funded and supported thousands of restaurants around the world that make authentic Thai food through the Global Thai Program.
Global Thai
One of
Program.
the earliest instances of reporting on this came in the Wall Street Journal back in 2001. At the time, Thailand's deputy commerce minister detailed an ambitious plan to launch more than 3,000 restaurants worldwide.
And note that 2001 back then was like 21 years ago. Right now it's in the year 2022. My gosh.
He described the plan saying, quote, "We want to be like the McDonald's of Thai food." Now, when Thailand's deputy commerce minister is talking about wanting to bring a McDonald's-like approach to exporting Thai food worldwide, he's probably not talking about McDonald's' culinary style, but rather the idea of standardization. McDonald's, whether you love it or hate it, is something that's predictable.
It's affordable, it's consistent. I can walk into a McDonald's in Nigeria, order chicken McNuggets. When I bite into it, you know what it's gonna taste like? It's gonna taste like home.
The point of having a brand like McDonald's is letting people know what they can expect, unless you're in Greece and you try their McGyro and it McSucks. I mean, it's the same reason why all food theory thumbnails use the same font and have the same logo in the corner. It's about presenting you with something familiar, something recognizable, a consistent experience. And the planners in charge of Thailand's gastrodiplomacy efforts decided that if Thai food was really gonna catch on worldwide, then Thai restaurants needed to deliver a consistent experience. Dr. Mark Padumpat, a professor of Asian and Asian American Studies at University of Nevada, Las Vegas, describes it like this.
They train chefs, they export them to everywhere to open restaurants and to work in restaurants. You know, it's to stimulate tourism to Thailand, but it's also to try to standardize Thai taste around the world, because the government also feels like the different kinds of Thai food around the world has given it somewhat of a bad name, and so they're trying to standardize this Thai flavor. And, you know, it's part of their economic national development plan.
Now, that last part, about this being part of Thailand's economic national development plan, is the important part, because trying to get the world hooked on your nation's food isn't just something that you do for the funsies. After all, there's a reason that we led this story by talking about the country's deputy commerce minister. Thailand's culinary exports are responsible for sizable contributions to the Thailand economy. Take, for example, the fact that in 2001, Thailand was earning more than $6 billion a year from food-related exports, with the biggest boom coming from the growth of herbs and spices like kaffir lime leaves and galangal roots, the sort of plants that are native to Thailand and that aren't usually dietary staples for people in America. See, when more Thai restaurants open abroad, they're not just spreading Thai culture and improving the image of the country, they're also creating lots of businesses that import their ingredients directly from Thailand. And they get people in those countries hooked on flavors that they won't be able to satisfy without buying them directly from the source. And this right here is the commercial brilliance of the Thai government strategy. They're not sticklers about presenting authentic Thai dishes to the rest of the world, they're more concerned with presenting the general flavors and ingredients from Thai culture. This allows them to present a more easily accessible version of Thai cuisine, specifically one that is way less spicy. As the deputy commerce minister describes the relationship Americans have with certain Thai dishes like tom yum soup, quote, "It's supposed to be spicy, very spicy, but in America, they make it mild. Maybe they like it that way, but it's not traditional tom yum anymore." See, in the same way that fortune cookies and chop suey are associated with Chinese food despite both being American creations, Thai restaurants have developed their own westernized versions of Thai food that aren't necessarily representative of the food that you'd actually get if you ordered the same dish in a restaurant in Bangkok. But here's the good news for those of you who are hoping for a real authentic taste of Thailand. Even if the Thai food that restaurants are serving up to Americans may not be giving you the real authentic Thai experience, it's been improving over time, especially with the increased accessibility of ingredients. For example, prior to the 1970s, most Thai food made in America wasn't made the same way it was in Thailand, simply because a lot of the ingredients like fish sauce and kaffir lime leaves weren't easily accessible in North America. But since then, North America has started to import produce from Thailand and many other parts of Southeast Asia, not just as a culinary import, but as an agricultural product. As early as the 1990s, there have been more and more cases of Thai-owned produce companies growing Southeast Asian produce in California and Mexico, which has only continued to trend upward. That means it's getting easier for Thai restaurants that do want to go for an authentic presentation to create the same flavors that you'd find in the country of origin. From the perspective of the Thai government, though, it doesn't matter. After all, revenue is revenue, and if the restaurant effort is ultimately in the interest of gastrodiplomacy, the main goal is that when Americans drive to the Thai restaurant at their local strip mall, they leave with an overall favorable impression that makes them ever so slightly more predisposed to spend money on goods from Thailand, or maybe one day make it a vacation destination. So whenever you find yourself booking plane tickets to Thailand, stop for a moment to consider the fact that the Thai government successfully manipulated manipulated your stomach to get you there. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Bon appetit. You know, as someone whose job prioritizes eating whole Christmas trees and infusing Mountain Dew into pizza dough, stay tuned for that one, friends, it's safe to assume that I do not get all of the essential vitamins and minerals one needs to be a functioning human being. That is why I use and am super grateful to today's sponsor, Ritual Vitamins. Ritual is the obsessively researched and transparently made multivitamin that helps people like me fill in the gaps in their diet. They make it fast and easy to get high-quality nutrients like vitamin A, D, omega-3, and zinc by delivering vitamins straight to your door. Their Essential for Men multivitamin, the one that I take, provides 10 nutrients that support a strong foundation for your health in 2 easy-to-take capsules, and those capsules are delightfully minty in flavor. It's pretty cool, actually. So on the days where the only thing in my stomach is 16 different types of Diet Cola, I can feel better knowing that I'm not depriving my body completely of vitamins and minerals. I also really appreciate Ritual's commitment to sustainability. Each Ritual bottle is made with 100% recycled materials. Mailers are made with recycled newsprint and plant fibers. Even the ink is plant-based. Plus, they offset the environmental footprint of shipping their products by donating to sustainability initiatives like renewable energy and reforestation. So I can feel good, and for all my theorists with dietary restrictions, Ritual is vegan-friendly, sugar-free, non-GMO, gluten-free, and allergen-free. So fill the gaps in your diet today and get 10% off your first 3 months with Ritual by going to ritual.com/foodtheorists. And then make sure you use the code FOODTheorists at checkout. Yeah, I know, I tried to get a shorter one like MatPat, but I don't know why no one gave it to me, so it's Food Theorists. Do yourself a favor, save the typing, use copy and paste to your advantage. It's the top line of the description. Thanks again to Ritual for sponsoring today's episode and my ongoing health efforts, to be honest, and I'll see you all next week.
Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you find this video very interesting. I just love it that all this gastric diplomacy includes the Pokemon Snorlax! Get it? Because eat a lot then. I'm sorry. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you find this video very interesting and unique to watch, very interesting and knowledgeable as well. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel and sincerely appreciate all of our support and encouragement for our work. Thank you all so much for the best, and I hope to see you all in my next video. But hey, that's just a theory, a food theory. Bon appetit. Thank you. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye. Thank you so much. Subscribe.